I genuinely believe that for evening makeup, you need evening foundations. That doesn't mean that it needs to say it's an evening foundation, but it is really about understanding which formulas work and which foundations have been tried and tested for evening wear. And I'm talking about, like, you know, foundations that last all evening, that don't look like a mask, that are not so thick that, you know, you lose all dimension to your face, and foundations that still kind of let your skin look like skin, but you know, they give you that little bit of extra kind of work that you need than what you would wear in the daytime. These are foundations that I have done all the work for you guys, by the way, for. This is a list of foundations that work amazing for evening makeup. So I've tried them, I've tested them, I've had them on all evening, and they work really well. If you're new here, my name is Nina. I'm a celebrity makeup artist and beauty educator that has been kind of doing this for over 2 decades now. So a lot of experience that I want to share with you guys. I keep everything very transparent and honest on this channel. So let's get started with how I judge foundations for evening wear. It's about texture and flexibility. Will it move with your expressions and will it crack? The finish under low lighting. We don't want it to look chalky matte. We don't want it to look like flashback. We want it to look skin-like, but we still want it to give us that extra coverage that we need, or maybe that more of a flawless, just a notch up from the average flawless kind of base that we want. Buildability. So this is something I look at to ensure that you can build it up in thin layers rather than a thick foundation that you go in once and it's just all there and it's way too much. Line friendliness. Is it friendly with those fine lines? Is it going to just sit right there and get comfortable in those fine lines and enhance all of your pores? We don't want that. So I make sure that I found foundations that actually work really well with fine lines. Ingredient support. Are you getting ingredients that are good for your skin to make sure that you get that boost of hydration that you need, but also anything else that your skin may need? Are there soothing ingredients in there? You know, it's not full of fragrance, all those kind of things. SPF as well, because honestly, even though it's evening time. Now, if you like this video so far, I'd really appreciate if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell button so you don't miss some of the really good stuff that's coming up. Let's start with the first one. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This is the newly reformulated version because I really was not a fan of the old one, but this one is so good. The formula and coverage is medium to full coverage. It's a liquid formula, and I would say liquid, but kind of very kind of creamy liquid, so not too fluid. It definitely feels way more flexible than the original. It's a modern soft matte finish, so it's not going to give you a flat finish to your face. I think the wear is really good with this because it definitely holds up in the evening. It holds up in heat and humidity really well as well, and the only reason I say that is because I live in Dubai and it is sometimes really humid even in the evenings, so that's a big factor for out here, and it's held up so well in this kind of weather. So honestly, I have tested it in some of the most extreme conditions here. And I think it kind of builds up beautifully when you layer it in a really thin way. So very thin layers can give you the most stunning finish, which doesn't look heavy. Now, why is this so good for over 40s? The updated texture does not clamp down onto fine lines. It does not kind of like grab hold of it and settle in for the night. It's smoothing, it's blurring, it kind of like almost disguises fine lines and open pores. And I feel like it still lets your skin breathe as well. So it doesn't feel like it's just like completely kind of suffocating your skin. So it has smoothing polymers in here, which is really good for just smoothing out the skin and giving the illusion of a much more smoother kind of base than what your skin probably already is. It's got hydrating ingredients in here, and it's got some other skincare ingredients, which is really kind of like it helps to give you that extra bounce to your skin. I would say you only need 2 thin coats of this foundation because the coverage is pretty insane, but you only need a small amount to get that really good coverage. You can spot conceal after, but honestly, I feel like you might even get all the coverage you need just from the foundation. I would recommend, if you have slightly more kind of dehydrated skin, then use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish, or not Flawless Finish, Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I always get it wrong no matter how much I use this. So use that before your foundation and after your foundation, and then after your powder as well, because that's really going to help to give it that extra boost of hydration as well at the same time. And it will also help your powder to melt into your skin so that it doesn't look so kind of like matte and kind of heavy. You're going to get really polished long wear skin with this, so it really is a foundation that's great for the evening wear. So I think you're going to love it. Next is my Dior Forever Matte Foundation. I absolutely love this foundation. I've been using it for years, so I can tell you everything that you need to know about it. It's a light to medium coverage. I will say you can definitely get a more fuller coverage if you just layer it on in thin layers. It's a liquid formula not as creamy as the Charlotte Tilbury one, but not too fluid either. It definitely looks really crisp in photos, like your skin just looks really stunning in this. And I also feel like it's not too much of an overly matte finish. It's definitely more of a subtle soft matte finish that it gives your skin. There is a glow version as well, which is great if you prefer a glowy finish, but I absolutely love this matte version because it's not in your face matte and it's not like kind of heavy matte. It definitely isn't as heavy as what you would think it's going to be. So it's excellent longevity, can I just say. This is absolutely amazing for your skin if you want to put it on in the morning and you're going to be out all day and then all evening without looking at your base. You're going to get the most amazing finish. It's very reliable. This product never fails me. I will always turn to this foundation if I just feel like I need an extra helping hand and I don't want to have to worry about looking at it, or I don't want to try a new foundation. So I want something that's always got my back. That's the best way to put it. This foundation has my back at any event, no matter what time of day it is, no matter how long it takes. It diffuses open pores, so it really does kind of blur the texture a little bit of your skin. It's got hydrating ingredients in there, and it's got floral extract skincare ingredients in there. So that really does help to kind of like make sure that your skin isn't looking overly dry and matte. That's why you get that really nice kind of like mix of the hydration, but also the soft matte finish from it. And I feel like it never makes your skin look, or your base look, like you've had foundation on all day. It always looks fresh. I would recommend applying this with a brush such as the 106 BK Beauty brush. Get discount off that with my code, which is Nina10, by the way. Buff it into the skin, so never drag or rub, always just buff it into the skin. You're gonna get a great finish with that because it's a large brush that really gets the foundation into the skin, but make sure you buff it into the brush before you buff it into your skin. By the way, that foundation looks absolutely amazing when you actually layer the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Finish highlighter, the liquid highlighter, all over underneath the foundation. So put it on and then apply foundation. Stunning finish. You can thank me later. The next one is the Haus Labs Skin Tech Foundation. It's a liquid, blendable, and buildable formula. Very natural, radiant finish to this. So this is great if you don't want that overly matte finish, but you want foundation that delivers in every other aspect. Very dependable evening wear base without the heaviness. Very flexible, so moves with expression really well. You're not going to feel like it's tightening on the skin. It works with your fine lines, so it really does help to diffuse them, but it doesn't kind of like settle into fine lines. Great on normal to dry to combination skin tone, so I feel like this works really well. And it's also really good at soothing your skin. It's got soothing skincare properties in there, so great if you tend to suffer from maybe sensitive skin or a bit of redness. You can definitely build this up very easily. I'd use a sponge or even a brush with it. I personally prefer using brushes with foundation application, but you can use either or, and if you dampen your sponge, you're going to get a really nice skin-like finish. The RMS Re-Evolve Foundation. This is a very lightweight foundation, but it's great if you want a lighter finish and not so heavy, but you want it for the evening wear because it really does stay in place. It's comfortable on the skin. It really doesn't feel like you're wearing much on the skin, but I love the creamy formula to this. It's not liquid, it's more of a cream, and it lasts really well all day, and I feel like you can really build it up if you need, so light to medium coverage. Perfect if you want your skin to look very, very skin-like, but really good close-up as well. You get great hydration with this foundation, but without the slip, so it's not going to be sliding around all over the place. So even though it is a kind of very lightweight foundation, it's a cream formula that just kind of like grips hold of your skin really easily. Doesn't cling to dry patches either, which is great. It's very nourishing for the skin, so think like skin-loving ingredients, peptides, hydrating ingredients, so everything that's very nourishing for your skin. I'd say you get a really nice thin veil of color with this, but you can obviously increase the coverage with concealer. But honestly, if you layer it up really thin, then you're going to get amazing coverage with this too. I'd say the finish is going to be like polished. That's the kind of look you're going to get with this. So my next one is the MAC Studio Radiance Foundation. I do recommend this for day wear too, by the way. Like a couple of these are great for day wear too, but honestly so good for evening. This is an amazing foundation that is a liquid formula. I would say this is a medium coverage that you can build up, and it's great at blending, very flexible on the skin. You get a really nice radiant finish and a bouncy feel to your skin. So it's a great kind of foundation if you want your evening base to look very healthy, bouncy, radiant, but flawless. That's what you're gonna get with this foundation. It kind of brings life back to your skin. So really good ingredients in here as well that look after your skin whilst giving you that flawless finish. Doesn't settle into fine lines, sets really well with powder, but you're continuously gonna get that nice radiance come through, which isn't to be confused with greasiness or too much dewiness. I think you get radiance, not necessarily dewiness and kind of slip on the skin. The next is the Christian Louboutin Fluid Foundation. What a foundation. Expensive, but oh my god, is it worth it? It is so good. It's so stunning. The most luxe evening foundation I've ever come across. It's a silky liquid which is very buildable. The most amazing coverage ever. Great for evening wear, lasts really well, looks so expensive on the skin, and so it should do with what it costs, but honestly it is absolutely amazing. It's the one foundation I found that is expensive, but actually it's not even that expensive, because so many foundations these days that are not even as big as a brand as Christian Louboutin charge that much for foundations. Don't be fooled that, you know, it's just not going to be good just because it's not created by an original and OG beauty brand, because they've done really well with this foundation. I have raved about this ever since I first tried it. It has like soft focus pigments in here that help to blur the skin, so it gives you that really nice blurred finish, which is very polished at the same time, but also it does kind of have that light reflecting property in here, which really helps to kind of give you that slight radiant look to your base. For some reason, some weird reason, I don't know how it works, but it just makes you look like you're radiating, but it's also a matte finish that you get, which doesn't look overly matte. You need minimum setting powder with this, by the way, because it sets really well itself, but I would still always apply powder to areas that you generally get fine lines, like around the eye area, anywhere like that, anywhere where you have a lot of facial expression. Next, we've got the Too Faced Longwear Foundation. Creamy liquid formula, medium to full coverage. Very solid longwear foundation if you apply it in thin layers and build it up. Great if you want coverage without the heaviness. Hyaluronic acid, coconut water, I believe, in here, or like some kind of coconut style hydration in here. It's got some really good skin loving ingredients that are going to nourish your skin while you've got it on. Amazing coverage with the smallest amount. Never feels tight on the skin, but still gives you that really good coverage. Smoothing, crease resistant, like doesn't sit in the fine lines either. Sets really well. I genuinely feel you need a very small amount of this foundation, and make sure it's on hydrated skin, because you're going to get that really nice finish from it, and then set it with powder wherever you need it. But it's an amazing foundation for the evening that doesn't cost you as much as some of the others, but it still kind of delivers for you. Now, the next one is the Lancome foundation. I'm not going to say it because I never know how to say this, pronounce it, but it is such a good foundation for evening wear. This is a medium to full coverage. It's a liquid formula. Looks very polished under a flash, so you don't need to worry about pictures being taken. Coverage is absolutely insane, like really good without it looking heavy. Smooths pores, smooths fine lines, very blurring, doesn't sit in the lines. Great shade options available. I feel like this is a really good foundation to do the sandwich technique with. So you can use your setting spray like the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray in between each layer, and it's going to give you that really nice kind of like bouncy skin look with this foundation. You get a very clean, lifted complexion with this, so I think you're really going to like it. I feel like not a lot of us, I don't know, I don't hear a lot about Lancome products, and there's not a lot that I love from them, but this foundation is very good. Next is the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. Nearly forgot what it was called there, but it's a really good foundation that gives you a very blurred, velvety finish. It's a liquid formula, but I'd say it's slightly more on the creamy side. Kind of gives you a diffused look to your skin and a very kind of soft glow to your skin. It looks very luxe on the skin, but it doesn't have that kind of sparkle, which is good because some foundations do tend to have that. It's got light diffusing powders in there, so like I said, very kind of diffused look to your skin. Really good in photos, very easy to apply. I'd personally recommend using a brush and buffing it into the skin on very well hydrated skin. You actually need less than you think. You don't need a lot of this. And if you're working on very well hydrated skin, I think you're going to get a really good kind of flexible application with it. Those are my foundations, but I do want to go through some tips with you. Let's just go through some random things. These are just random things I feel like you need to know when it comes to evening foundation. Match it to your neck, because obviously your foundation, your skin color is going to be different on your face than what it is to your neck. My skin on my face is definitely a little bit lighter than my neck, so I always prefer to match to my neck. So even if I apply it on my jawline, I make sure it looks very similar to my neck area. I would not go too on the yellow side hide with foundations, especially if you are a bit kind of more brown skin toned like me, because it can end up looking really weird in the evening under certain lights. So opt more for an olive tone kind of base if you have brown skin. It does depend on your natural undertone anyway, but try and steer clear of overly yellow or orangey kind of like tones. If you want to know more tips, by the way, please do head on over to thebeautybreakfastclub.com. It's my online publication where I share everything to do with beauty, style, wellness, mindset, everything. You're going to love it. And by the way, it's free to subscribe, but there is a paid version. In that paid version, it means you get access to the entire site, so it all gets unlocked. But the main thing that I think you get, which is really kind of, I don't feel like you can really put a price on it, is you get to join the group chat, and there's over 6,000 people in this community. So it's pretty amazing. And I'm in that group chat, so you can ask me any questions that you want answered. If you want a question answered directly by me, go for the paid version. So let's just talk about what's really going to help your evening base to look perfect and just not too heavy and also not too mask-like. Make sure you've got a really good skin prep going. So make sure it is hydrating. So make sure you're using hydrating formulas that really help to kind of keep your skin nourished. So you don't want anything that's going to dry out your skin for the evening. I would personally recommend doing an underpaint glow. What that means is use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. I like using more bronzy color. I might actually do that tonight because I'm going out. And yeah, let me actually take that out so I'm ready to do that tonight. So yeah, I would highly recommend that because that looks absolutely stunning. I always feel like that adds a bit of luxe feel to my base, especially for the evening. So apply that and then go in with your foundation on top. That's going to completely, honestly, it's going to look amazing. You're going to love it. Make sure that you apply your foundation in thin layers and build up the coverage that way so you don't look mask-like. Conceal only where you need to. You don't need to apply it all over. You don't need to draw stripes all over your face, only where you need it. And remember sometimes that if you just get rid of your dark circles with concealer, that can be what kind of like brings the whole look together. So you don't necessarily need concealer everywhere else. Set smartly, so don't necessarily pack on the powder everywhere. Just apply it wherever you feel that you have more expression, and in the other areas dust it on very lightly with a brush, so not too heavy all over. Use a setting spray such as the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray to melt your powder into the skin so it doesn't look so heavy. It's the best way to take your foundation from freshly kind of powdery to immediately like a little bit kind of lived in and looks a bit more normal and looks flawless and skin-like. Lastly, keep soft tissues in your bag because that's the best way to blot your skin. Don't pack on a whole load of powder throughout the evening. It's just going to make it look more heavy. Only use tissues to blot and you're good to go. I really do hope you've enjoyed this today. These are all of the evening foundations that I personally recommend, have used and tested and absolutely loved. I know you're going to love them too. So have a look at all of them, maybe rewind and just see which one kind of like seems to like sit well with you and then try that out. Everything is listed in my description and I hope you've enjoyed it and I will see you on the next video.